So I'd like to welcome in now Dr. Susan Hanssen, a history professor at the University of Dallas who teaches at the private Catholic University's Rome campus each summer. Dr. Hanssen, thank you so much for your time. And we are just getting word the confirmed cause of death for the Pope was a stroke. So those details starting to come out a bit now. Doctor, we know many Catholics were already planning to attend Mass today for the second day of Easter, Easter Monday. Then this happened. Now those services take a different tone. Talk about that.
Yes. So, of course, Easter is the greatest feast of the Christian world. And so this whole week is a kind of octave of Easter, with flowers and lace and alleluias and songs. But of course, with the death of the Pope, this does take a different flavor. But the reality is that it's a celebration. It's a celebration of his life and the gift that he has been to the church. He was the Holy Father. He was the pontiff. He was high priest. And so it's beautiful that he died just after celebrating Easter with everyone in St. Peter's Square. I know people are gathering in St. Peter's Square now. A lot of my students from the University of Dallas Rome campus have been there in the square today. It's the largest piazza on planet Earth. It's a great outdoor church, and that's where we're going to witness the funeral of Pope Francis, and then, of course, the gathering of the cardinals for the conclave, which will probably open around May 6th. I'm going to be going to Rome in a couple of weeks, so I hope to be there for some of that.
Absolutely. All right. So talk a bit about how Pope Francis was different from other church leaders. We know he certainly had a complex legacy he leaves behind. He butted heads with some who thought he was too liberal. There were others who thought just the opposite, that he was too conservative. So just talk about his leadership, talk about his overall influence and legacy.
In the long history of the papacy, going back 2,000 years, of course, it's quite an anomaly that we've had 3 popes in a row who are not Italian. So we had the Polish Pope, John Paul II, and then the German Pope, Benedict XVI. And Pope Francis was an Italian-American in some sense, not from the United States, but an Italian immigrant family in Argentina. So it is an anomaly to have a non-Italian Pope in and of itself. And of course, all 3 of those popes were very much children of the 20th century and shaped by the 20th century. In many ways, Pope Francis came of age and came into his priesthood and joined the Jesuits in the late 1960s, early 70s. And so in some sense, his papacy has been a little bit of a throwback to the pre-John Paul II years. And so I think everyone is looking forward to the possibility of a pope who connects with the John Paul II generation and their children and the growth places in the Roman Catholic Church in Africa and in Asia going forward.
Dr. Hanssen, Pope Francis certainly pushed the boundaries of many of the Catholic traditions. What stands out most to you?
Well, I think that although there were many individual issues that became controversial, I think that the underlying issue was the question of church governance. Because, of course, for the past 500 years, since the beginning of the Protestant Reformation, an enormous difference between the Catholic Church and Protestant churches around the world is that the Catholic Church is fundamentally Episcopalian in its structure. It is a church that is ruled by bishops in union with the Pope, bishops who are the successors of the 12 apostles. It's a hierarchical church structure and church governance. And it has become typical of a lot of Protestant churches that they're governed congregationally. They're governed by the laity, the people of the local churches themselves. And so I think Pope Francis's interest in what the German bishops and German theologians have been pushing for in terms of synod rule in the church and synodality, having listening sessions all over the world. That has been a departure, and it will be interesting to see what that looks like going forward.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.